sent once the class completes, so we can all start filling the attendance list once it's been sent. And today, I have the privilege of introducing Tolulope Oyelade. Tolulope is an experienced human resources professional specialized in employee engagement, performance management, and organizational culture development. With a very strong background in managing end-to-end HR operations, she has led several initiatives focused on improving employee well-being, enhancing workplace policy, and strengthening performance system. In her current role, she has successfully implemented structured wellness programs, introduced an OKR-based performance management system, and designed employee engagement across different management systems. And she has also designed employee engagement strategies that have significantly improved motivation and productivity across all teams. Miss Tolu Lope, are you with us? Hello, can you hear me? Am I
I'm
audible?
with you, please. Good
All
morning.
right, all right. Good morning. It's nice to have you on the session today. You
Yeah,
can proceed
no
from here,
problem.
ma'am. Would love to have an amazing session with you today.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Good morning, everybody. I trust we are all doing well. I would like this session to be very engaging. There will be lots of questions, answers, thoughts, contributions. So just to make sure it's very, very engaging. And like Adedamola asked earlier, how many of us ate Salah rice or Ramadan rice? Because some of them say it's not yet Salah. Salah is in the course of the year later on. All right, so still on the topic or the let me put it topic of entrepreneurship and business management. Today we'll be talking about motivating employees. And I'm sure everyone on this call, we've heard of this several times. And sometimes you just keep questioning yourself that why do you even need to motivate your employees, or you might be asking that why do you need to motivate some employees and why you need to continue motivating other employees. But as we know, or we should know, employees are the greatest asset of an organization. um, they hold the knowledge, they carry the business, because you as the CEO, you as part of the management, you as an HR professional, you as a team lead, you really can't do it alone. And so it is necessary and important that as much as you hire talent, as much as you hire skilled employees, it is very, very important that you find ways to keep them, you make them stay, you make them loyal, and you just keep motivating them. So I would share my screen now, so we can just get right into the session for the day. Please confirm you can see my screen.
Yes, you
Yes, I
can see
can.
your screen.
Okay, great. All right, so
Please, you
like
can put it on a projection mode, please. Thank you.
okay.
Hi, Tolu, are you still there? Can anyone hear me, please?
Yes, Mister, I can still hear you loud and clear.
I can
I
hear you,
think
ma'am, but I can't hear Miss Tolu anymore.
I think our network is
Okay,
probably glitching or something. So let's give her a few minutes to reconnect.
thank you.
Please confirm you can hear me now.
Loud and clear.
Please confirm you can hear me and you can see my screen now.
Yes, loud and clear, and then we can see your screen. Go ahead.
Oh, all right, okay. Thank you. Apologies for that. That was had a little bit of a network failure. All right. So I was saying earlier that it is as important as it is to hire skilled talent into the organization, it is also very important that we find ways, we find strategies to keep motivating them, to help them keep meeting up to performance standards. And there are various ways we can look at, and hence the purpose of this meeting today, the purpose of this call today. And as highlighted from my screen here, these are part of the outcomes that we are all expected to, learn from. Because as much as you, as much as the one facilitating this class, everyone is here to learn. There is always something to learn every time. And then we'll be looking at theories around motivating employees and key takeaways, applicable takeaways that we can immediately, for we that are already professionals, workers in the room right now, and for those that are aspiring, probably yet to find themselves in the workplace, something you can note down and then you can immediately, adopt into your organization. So we'll be looking at principles of Frederick Taylor's scientific management, which in summary literally just talks about having a one way to, solving matters, a one way to addressing issues. That's it in summary. So yes, what Hawthorne studies reviews about worker motivation, Maslow's hierarchy of needs and its relation to motivation, McGregor's theories of theory of X and Y, Auchi's theory Z. Will be comparing different locations on their beliefs on how they treat or help motivating employees in a workplace. That's all right. So we'll be looking at intrinsic versus extrinsic rewards. But before then, let's treat what motivation even means. We can see motivation is a form of force that urges someone to, do better. What's that force that drives you? What's that force that makes you keep doing what you're doing? Or what's that force that makes you want to do what you want to do, want to make you achieve some certain things? What is motivating you to, if you say, you want to be in the next 5 years, you want to be a professional in HR, you want to be a certified project manager, you want to be a certified customer service expert. What's that motivation? And when you are talking about motivation, we are talking about you would always, when you are looking at motivation, you would look at the need. What is required of you? If you say, you want to you have an organization with about 10 employees, and you need to actually, you've noticed there's been a trend of their level of productivity being the same, is not improving, is probably regressing, or it's just there. There's no progression, so to speak. Is the same thing over time. And then you start to strategically think about how can we motivate these employees. You start thinking of what is required. Is it training that is required? Is it that, we need to we need to implement some sort of health coverage? Sometimes it might just be mental stress. It could be stress, and it could be delaying or drawing back the motivation of employees. I know when we look at what is required, you look at, how does this requirement lead to improving their performance? How does this performance, once it is improved, what is the goal we want to achieve? How do we reward their performances? Because it's a different thing to push, put in place every single thing needed of these employees. But what is the goal? There's something that I have learned over time, is that whatever decision that must be made, whatever activity you want to put in place, there has to be a goal behind it. You have to be very objective behind it. So what is the reward you will get? By the time you have been able to analyze your needs, what is required, you've been able to analyze how you want to probably evaluate performances, you've been able to, put plans in place on the step-by-step on how to go about it. What is the reward that you want to get? I know the reward goes in several ways. The reward happens for the employee himself. and the organization at large. And you would, someone trying to say something, please? Okay. All right, William, please, can you mute? Can someone please help me, William, mic? All right, so when we are talking about intrinsic, we're talking about some sort of satisfaction that you get in yourself. Adedamola, I don't know if you are still on the call. Can you help me with William's mic? William, if you can hear me, kindly mute your mic. Let's just go ahead. So we are talking about intrinsic. We are talking about what does the employee get? Because you have, while you are looking at ways, while you are trying to implement policies, activities, while you're trying to develop a culture to help motivate employees, you have to ensure that it's also addressing the wants of Hi, everyone. Please confirm you can still hear me.
I can hear you, ma'am.
myself. Okay, all right, great. Thank you. All right, so I was saying that while you are looking at ways to implement, develop a culture to motivate employees, develop work conditions to help motivate employees, you have to be sure that you're not coming only from the angle of the management alone. You have to ensure that you are addressing the needs, the wants of the employee. At the same time, you are still in par with, or you're still aligning, or you're still in alignment with the arrangement or conditions from the management. And I'm talking about you being an HR professional in this case. And so when an employee is motivated, and I would want us to even trickle it down to ourselves as an individual, not putting ourselves in the place of an employee. You know, sometimes when you actually have a goal set, you have documented this plan, oh, I want to achieve this, even as little as a to-do list, your daily to-do list. When you actually complete that to-do list, I want you, you will know, there is a satisfaction that comes with it. There is a sense of accomplishment. It's like you pride yourself in, I was one that did this, I planned to do this, and I actually achieved this. There's this fulfillment that comes with it. And these are part of the things that has been highlighted in, as you can see from the screen. They're part of the intrinsic rewards for an individual. So, because sometimes you find yourselves as HR professionals, as leads, you know, you feel, oh, you are doing your best to make sure that the workplace is conducive for your team members, for the employees, the organization, you know, is friendly, but you are really not addressing the needs, the wants that needs to be addressed. So you have to ensure that whatever plans that you're putting in place, whatever strategy that you're putting in place to motivate your employees is actually bringing out intrinsic rewards for your employees. Yes, you can't satisfy everybody, but a majority goes a long way. So let's take, for instance, you are you have a PMP certified, a project manager, a certified project manager in your organization, and you've been able to identify training needs for all team members in the project management office, and you have not done your survey or your analysis properly, in the sense that you've not been able to properly draft or extract the exact need of that particular certified project manager, and you're allocating or assigning them for another project management course that you already have certificate for. It is a good course. You are training them. Training is another way of motivating employees. However, it's not giving the particular satisfaction in this case to that particular employee in question in this context. So you have to ensure that in as much as you are getting your analysis, you are deriving your data, getting your analysis, extracting your needs, putting plans in place, put in mind that, oh, this plan, is it going to actually give some level or a good level of satisfaction to these employees? And you're not just doing it all because you have to train your employees. Of course, I have to train my employees. Another way that you can give or another strategy or another point of view that serves as reward from the management from the organization at large is a pay raise. And like I mentioned earlier, you have to also be careful that whatever reward you are giving, it has to be in alignment with the organization's capacity. So when you want to recognize an employee for their performance over a period of time, and the reward that comes with it is probably a pay raise, you have to be very, very careful about it, that you do not give a raise that is probably not sufficient or is not what's the word now, that you can't follow through with, so that you don't struggle to continue with such reward. And pay raises, increments in salary is not really the only thing. There are many, many ways. You can put bonuses, a completion of projects to time, to quality, promotion, titles. Over time, I've been able to, I've realized that not everyone is actually totally concerned with salary increment. You know, that title, taking someone from a junior staff to an intermediate level, gives another form of motivation. It makes the employee realize, it makes them just know that, oh, they're actually doing something right. And it just keeps them motivated. It helps them stay. It just helps with their focus too on the job. Bonuses, promotions, assignments. You can assign them on physical trainings, you know, maybe somewhere outside probably the workspace, and that some sort of way could count as let me call it a vacation. You know, something outside the workspace, they are meeting people, they're networking with people. It gives them a level of fulfillment. It boosts their confidence. They get to meet more people. Don't confine them in just internal or localized trainings. Yes. Some organizations even go as far, organizations that are very, very capable, they go as far as investing stocks in the name of these employees. What it shows is that you're not just interested in the current status of that employee, you're also concerned in the but we are also concerned in the employee's future. I mean, stock options, stock investments is a future plan. Awards, recognition, as little as a shout out on the group chat, it goes a long way. And sometimes you also have to adequately understand your employees. Like I gave an illustration earlier, assigning an already certified employee to the same training is almost useless. It's almost not rewarding. So what am I driving at is that there are some employees that you can already tell that, oh, this form of recognition really, really boosts this employee. This form of recognition, oh, it's almost like applying, what's it called? It's almost like applying love languages. That's literally the way it is. Some people are just really moved by gifts. Some people are really moved by words of affirmation. Some people are really moved by, acts of service. These are the little details I'm trying to emphasize on. Perks, benefits, gift cards. These are examples. Flexible work arrangement. If you run a full-time, fully on-site work arrangement at your office, you can give a way to reward an employee. It can just be, 1 week work from home. That's also another way. If it's a hybrid, you can, just find a way around it. You can extend leave days. And those are just little perks and benefits. HMO, you may want to extend it maybe beyond, or you may want to, HMO, they have different, if you want to give probably health benefits, you may want to upgrade this certain employees to a higher level of health coverage. These are little perks and benefits that can be implemented to, motivate employees that performs well, by the way. From my screen here, it says motivation pushes us from where we are to where we want to be because effort expended results in some kind of reward. I know it starts from unmet need or want. And like I said, it's both from the individual aspect and also at the organization aspect. The organization also has their needs. The organization also wants to be motivated to motivate the employees. The employees also want to be motivated to, also motivate the organization. So what does the organization want? What does the employee want? You have to actually identify the need. It is very important. You identify the need, you identify the requirement. What do we want? What do we want to achieve? How can we achieve it? Tension created, and when you push someone so far, overwhelming can come in between. Because you are driving yourself beyond probably the usual. And most times this can happen in probably when you are trying to motivate yourself for a career upgrade, progress. And in my earlier context, is as little as you even accomplishing a to-do list. If you're able to identify or recognize an employee that it's not like the employee is not good at their job. It's not like they do not have a good work. It's not like they do not have a good attitude towards work. they're not just getting it right. They're probably not just managing their time right. You have been able to identify, okay, how do I need to help this employee manage their time better? You can put the employee on a soft skill training. You can help the employee as far as little as even getting a stick note. It's that practical. Oh, with this stick notes, do you know that you can pen down your to-do list? What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do this week? What do you want to do today? Write it down. As much as you keep completing each task, tick it off. There is once the employee is able to identify right in front of his eyes, because I mean the stick note obviously would be stuck in front of him, probably on the table, on his or her laptop. He's able to identify, oh, I still have this thing to do. But you know the good thing, you have been able to come in to help the employee carry out or help take out some practical little things to help manage his or her time and help work better. Hence, you're also increasing the level of productivity. The employee has gained a fulfillment. Organization has also gained another good level of staff utilization. Productivity becomes higher. It is also very important that the mindset is right. It is also very important that the mindset is right, because like I also mentioned earlier, you have to identify the need for each employee and align with it. So if you are pushing an employee who our goal is probably not to get certified in his skill set, and you're pushing, there's no satisfaction that comes with it. Both ends, intrinsic, extrinsic. There's no satisfaction. The employee gets overwhelmed, gets frustrated, and at the best is, or the most the employee will do is leave the work. And because it becomes the workload is too much. Meanwhile, the motive, the end goal of the organization is to drive performance of this employee. So it is important that you identify the need. In between, yes, tension will be created. The employee also, both ends, the employee, the management need to have a goal-oriented mindset, a goal-directed behavior. When the mindset aligns, needs are satisfied, you will meet. Having a goal mindset implies having a clear plan in place. You've been able to identify your needs, you document them. How you want to achieve them, you document them. And in the long run, tension is relieved. And this is just the process for motivation. And we are going now into early theories of motivation. So like I mentioned earlier, this Frederick Taylor and scientific management theory. In summary, it's just looking at one best way to perform any job. But you know, having just one way, I mean, it's not absolutely effective. But I mean, this is just one of the theories that we'll look at today. The key belief of Frederick Taylor's theory is having one best way to perform any job. Part of this theory also states productivity stems from economic incentives. I know sometimes too, which also aligns with this theory, redesigning work arrangements. There is no one way to, it's not even, especially now that we have Gen Z in the workplace, we cannot afford to have just one way. And the four major principles of Taylor's scientific management. Developing a scientific method, which is just one way of a person's job. This is how we do it, and this is how we to go about it. But it's not absolutely applicable in today's world. With the generation that we have now in our workplace, with the location that we are in Nigeria, a one shoe doesn't fit all. So we have to be quite strategic about it. However, each of these theories hold their advantages and applicable adoption. And the first principle is for Taylor's scientific management theory, is developing a scientific method for each element of a person's job. The second is select and train. While you're planning to train, it is also very important that you identify the key training need. Your training analysis is very important. Cooperation. Encourage a worker-manager cooperation. It's not every time we're in a workplace that the employees are bad. We have some bad bosses too. Sometimes it's in a team, the team lead is not great, the team members are great. Sometimes the team members are not great, the team lead is great. It's our duty as managers to find a way to ensure that there is a synchronization, there is collaboration, there is teamwork, there is cooperation with the manager, the leads, the supervisors, and their subordinates. If you have to sit them down on a one-on-one discussion, please do. If you want to run an anonymous pulse survey, please do. Just to ensure that, you're getting to the root of what needs to be solved. Divide responsibilities. Delegation is as important as getting the work done. I've seen cases whereby leads will say, they do not want to delegate because they know so person, so team member of theirs would not get the job done. But if you never actually put them on the task to do, they just will never learn. So still delegate it. Now, the key point there is you shouldn't delegate and leave the members on their own to just find their way around it. There should be a good level of mentorship, a good level of guidance. Spread out the task to do, responsibilities. If it is something new to them, share a knowledge-based platform to help them gain knowledge, how to go about it. Be an open room. Be an open room for people to walk up to you in case of any question or any difficulty. Still on this theory, These are part of the impacts that this theory has brought about. And it has led to mass production. You know, when there's synchronization amongst managers and team members, productivity increases, specialization increases. Time management is more effective, more efficient. And like I mentioned earlier, these theories also still has their flaws. And these are just part of the flaws that has been identified from this theory. Because if you thoroughly look at the scientific management theory, it's focusing on the work. How about the social needs of the employee? This theory did not meet that. Psychological need. This theory did not meet that. What motivates people, individual differences. This theory doesn't address that because it's just talking about one way to address people's job. And meanwhile, we don't have just one type or kind of person. We have different people, different needs, different personalities. We have another theory here, Hawthorne studies. The effect of this theory shows that employees perform better when they feel singled out for special attention or when management demonstrates concern for employee welfare. And like I mentioned earlier, there is no particular theory that is supposed to be thrown out of the window. The purpose of this is to identify these theories and adopt the positive side of each theory in today's workplace. Frederick Taylor's theory has addressed specialization on a job. Now, Hawthorne's theory here is addressing the need for showing concern for employee welfare. Hawthorne shifted thinking from purely economic needs to recognizing that social needs play a vital role in work motivation. And before the reinvention of this theory, workers were motivated by pay only. There was no form of benefits. There was no side perks, no benefits, no bonus. Just do your work. It's just for you to do your work, do your job, do your work and leave. That was all it was before then. Before factors also matter. I know sometimes when you're even giving some sort of incentives, when you're giving some sort of rewards, it doesn't have to necessarily be an individual alone. You can do group rewards, you can give group attractions, group incentives, and this is part of what Hawthorne addresses. Giving a level of responsibility, a level of self-direction to each employee. It also boosts morale. But it shows that, you believe you have a level of trust in such employees to complete some certain task. Job responsibility doesn't lie with the CEO alone, doesn't lie with the management alone. The employees also partake in some of these task completion. This theory is also addressing the fact that your attitude also, it says a lot about, or rather, it's part of your performance. It's beyond knowing the work. Like I always say, it's beyond knowing the work. What's your attitude towards work? Are you, so, I mean, when we are also finding ways to also motivate employees, sometimes it's not, the problem is not they do not know the work. That's another angle to it. The problem may not be they do not know the work. The problem is just what attitude do they have towards completing the work. And that's still part of the performance. We move to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. And according to Maslow hierarchy of needs, in summary, is saying the small needs should be satisfied first before going for the very high needs. Since higher level needs activate only after lower level needs are satisfied. So those little things, so it could just be, I mean, Fridays, a Friday night in the office, it can just be a movie night, because you will be shocked that sometimes your employees outside work do not have a life, and it is affecting their productivity at work. And it is very important that as managers, our concern or our ways of motivating employees is beyond on the job. It's their whole life. We are literally, especially as HR professionals or practitioners, we are literally concerned about their whole life. Their whole life, that means they're addressing different aspects of their needs. They're addressing the psychological needs. How often do you hold health talks, seminars, sessions? I mean, you could have something called the Health Week, where employees in the organization can, hit the gym together for a period of 1 hour. You can create a meal plan for the day. You can just have a short health tip for that week. I mean, you're addressing different needs that way. That aspect is their well-being. Their social needs, social group chats, social activities, just help them balance their work life. It goes a long way with motivating employees. Their psychological needs. As much as the organization also has the employees' best interest at heart to increase salaries, like I mentioned earlier, it's not necessary to do a 100% increase. A 20% increase is something, and there's a level of motivation that comes with it. Safety needs. What kind of culture is existing in your organization? Does your employees feel threatened. Oh, they are not, they, even if they are not trained, if they are not meeting up to performance, so to speak, is there some sort of opportunity given to them in terms of, putting them on a training or even job rotation? Sometimes it could be a situation of putting a square peg in a circle hole. How about you look at other areas that you believe that this employee can do better or best at? They feel their job is protected that way, is safe that way. To a good level, they know that, they cannot wake up one morning to a letter of termination just like that. Promotions. So yes, that's it in summary about Maslow's hierarchy of needs. The primary reason people seek employment is to earn money. But you can attract people with a good salary, but you may not be able to keep them if salary is the only form of reward, or form of concern shown, or form of employee welfare shown to employees in the organization. Only salary is honestly not enough. So yeah, Maslow is saying the most basic need of any human is their psychological need. That's their food. Everybody wants to earn money to be able to buy food for themselves, at least buy clothes. Some people, yes, they stay with one person or the other sometimes, but if they would also want to, have their own space. Basic needs. Level 2, safety needs. Protection from harm, avoiding the unexpected. Is there any form of health benefits in your organization? Or a less than maybe 10, where an organization may not be able to implement or establish HMO? Is there some sort of policy or incentive or benefits that addresses their health concerns, where, okay, for any employee who is able to tender a valid proof of health attention, the organization will be responsible for a 50% reimbursement of expenses made. 100%, 50%, it also depends on the organization's capacity. So these are, and in Nigerian labor law of today, it is even very important. In fact, it is compulsory that you provide health coverage for your employees. But it's not, so you just have to find a way around it to see that, you're showing some level of concern, you're motivating your employees in different aspects of their life, which also aligns with the organization's capacity, objectives. So workplace safety, is it a manufacturing organization and or in an organization, in a manufacturing organization, and there's nothing as little as a first aid kit available in the workplace? How? Indirectly, it only shows that or rather, it may imply that you're not concerned about the employees at all. So that means any day, anytime, if there's any injury, you can't address it. You have to go elsewhere. As little as a first aid kit. The processes, the procedures, the policies that are in place, what sort of is there a career progression plan in place for your employees? If your employees spend about a year or 2 years in your organization, what do they get? What is their reward? If they spend 3 to 5 years, what is their reward? What do they get? If they spend 5 to 7 years and above, what is their reward? What do they get? These are little perks and strategies to put in place, which are actually very important, and they really motivate employees to stay and keep performing. Their social needs, as far as your workplace condition. I've heard where employees will say the reason why they like this particular organization is just because their offices are so beautiful. When you join this organization, you get to meet with so person. Diversity too is another way to think about these things. You have to be, your office, is it aesthetically, the office environment, is it aesthetically pleasing? It addresses social needs. What's the culture of the organization? Are the employees friendly? Do the employees find themselves as do they see themselves as friends, not just workers? Outside the workplace, is there still a level of relationship? Because yes, it does exist. Some people stay in a workplace just because a particular friend is in that organization. Or just because, I like the way my boss speaks with me. I like the way the CEO, talks to us. When I'm, these are little sense of belonging. When I was talking about diversity, you have to also critically look at the demography of the employees in your organization. Is it mixed? Do you have only female? Do you have only male in a particular area, management level in a particular team? Is it only age 45 and above that are in a particular place, or even in the whole organization, I have just one 20-year-old or 21-year-old? The social need is not addressed in such a case. So diversity comes into play in such aspect. Self-actualization, self-esteem. You have to ensure that the culture that is established within the organization addresses this. There is respect shown towards each and every member of the employee, no matter the level, no matter the age, no matter the gender, no matter the status of each employee. It has to be a culture in an organization. Respect. recognition doesn't come from, or shouldn't rather, recognition shouldn't come from HR, the HR of the organization alone. Even a team on a project, the project manager on that project can give a special recognition, special shout out to their team members who have, committed and dedicated themselves well to the completion of the task or the progress of this of the project. From my screen here, under level 4, esteem, the second point, Wegmans. Wegmans is a supermarket. It's just a case study for this theory. And Sarah Goggins was just a random cashier in the supermarket. And she received the praise by the CEO. That's level of, I hope everyone can still hear me though, and I'm not just speaking to myself.
Can you hear you? Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. So a special shout out from the director to an entry-level staff. I can imagine the butterflies in the entry-level staff tummy. He or she will feel so fulfilled. Just a shout out. But why am I saying that? I'm saying it trickles down from, it can go as far from the top level to the lowest level entirely, as just a simple shout out. If it's a good level, it gives a satisfaction. So, sometimes people don't even know how good they are performing on their job, aside from the, periodic evaluation, which sometimes comes with a level of sentiment when giving reviews from supervisors sometimes. I know when you recognize an employee or someone for a job well done, there is a level of confidence that's built. There's a self-actualization that sprouts from within that individual. You start to even see yourself beyond, the individual starts to see yourself beyond what he thought he could achieve ever. And that's it on level 4. I did mention the case study of Bigman Supermarket. However, like I've highlighted before, each of these theories do not absolutely address or cover 100% of how we motivate employees. And so Maslow's theory also has its own criticism.
Sorry to cut you short. I just wanted to remind you that by 11:30 we'll be going on break and resuming back 12 o'clock, so we can have a smooth run and everything can go as planned.
All right. Can we have that by 12 maybe? Because I worked with 12 in
All
my
right,
head.
all right. No problem there. No problem.
Thanks for the reminder.
All right.
All right. These are part of the criticisms of Maslow's theory. A higher level need may not require a fully satisfied lower level need. real behavior is more flexible. Sometimes too, when you have to be very careful sometimes when you're also establishing some of these flexibility condition, incentives and the likes, because humans will be humans. They are never satisfied. And so that you don't get to, as an organization, get to bite more than you can chew. In the sense that you find out that you are incurring more costs in strategies addressing this aspect, and you are comparing it to what is coming in, and just like that, in summary, you have to also be careful. So this law clearly states that there's been a lot of emphasis on behavior. Yes, you have to look at work attitude, address their needs outside their on-the-job skills. Theory also assumes sequential progression. People can be motivated by multiple levels simultaneously. As much as horizontal knowledge is important, vertical is also very, very important. Being thorough in a particular skill set. Research has not, part of the criticism states, research has not strictly verified that satisfied needs stop motivating individuals. There's really no way to it. And like I said, you really cannot fully satisfy humans, but we just have to keep motivating them. We can't fully 100% satisfy their needs. It's not possible. We can't fully satisfy it. However, we just have to keep finding ways to motivating individuals, employees. The theory also focuses on moving up the hierarchy without addressing regression when needs become unmet. The risk is very, very important to identify risk as well. It's very, very important to identify risks. And lastly, part of the criticism states the hierarchy does not hold universal cultural differences significantly. It alters which needs dominate each the other. And next we are moving to McGregor's theory X, theory Y, and theory Z. So theory X it has a pessimistic view. Theory Y has a more optimistic view, and Z is like a combination of both and just finding better ways to so I think to work better with our time, let's just come to this slide where the comparison are side by side. So we're looking at different factors here and seeing how each theory addresses these factors. So the first factor is view of workers. What theory X sees workers as being lazy, as they avoid work. Theory X also supports the notion that employees should be micromanaged. You're not giving individual room for being self-directing. There is no sense of ownership. There's no room for individuals to take ownership of their job responsibilities. Theory X also supports the notion that for you to motivate is almost like our our African mothers. Any wrong you do, it is cane, punishment. So that's what Theory X is literally about, or that's how Theory X sees ways to correct or motivate employees. I already mentioned that it sees workers as they avoid job, work, task. I know if this is the thing or the only way that matters are addressed, employees are cared for, it will only create a very toxic environment. I know employees will now start, they will begin to show less concern about the work to be done. In fact, I would say no concern at all. It's not only less concern. They will show no concern, zero concern. Theory Y now has come to readdress what Theory X is all about. Theory Y now sees that workers are to be self-motivated. They are expected to enjoy what they do. They're expected to enjoy their work. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this session, I said employees are the greatest asset of an organization. And so when something is a great asset, when you have a car, you would have to fuel it. You have to service it from time to time. That's it with employees. Now, them being the greatest asset of an organization, you have to empower them. You have to trust them. You can't afford to keep checking in every single time you assign a task to them. You're not giving them a sense of responsibility. You're not giving them that autonomy to, carry out. So Theory Y addresses that management style that you, as managers, you need to empower your employees, train them, communicate their performance standard. Rewards that should be given or should be positive. Reward them for a job well done. Theory Y also states that workers do not avoid responsibilities. In fact, when they are idle, they get to meet you and say, they get to meet their supervisors, their leads, their line managers. They probably don't have something to do. Kindly engage. On their own, they look at various ways, internal operations that they can improve on. They are self-seeking. And the outcome of this theory states that employees become engaged, they become collaborative. The environment becomes very friendly. The teamwork is smooth, it's well synchronized. Communication is great. And theory Z here states long-term employment, not necessarily lifetime, but layoffs seen as inappropriate. So, like I always say, nobody will be in an organization for forever. Even the CEO will not be in an organization forever. Something somehow takes them off. But you have to also look at the rate of turnover. Do you have employees that within 6 months they are leaving? Is there even anything like an exit interview in place or exit survey in place to just help get information, to help get data that could help you, improve your processes, address employees' concerns, needs, to just ensure there is a longer stay, there is a longer employment term with your employees and the organization. Theory Z also addresses that there should be moderate specialization. Employees rotate across functions, understand whole firm. Your employees should not only be knowledgeable horizontally or knowledgeable vertically. It should go both ways. As much as they know the organization functions wide and far, they should also know deep and well-rooted. So deep and well-rooted vertically, wide and far horizontally. So the theory is just literally addressing these 6 aspects of employee motivation. This theory also states that, or rather emphasizing on the importance of betterment of a group decision rather than an individual just addressing matter. Like the adage says, 2 heads are better than one. In my organization, is as far as when creating slides, presentation slides, we'll have at least 2 to 3 people help look through the slides and then just share their thoughts, share their opinions. Just makes the work better. Just to get their inputs. This theory also addresses the general life of a worker, the personal life, their family. I did mention earlier that we are expected to just be concerned about their whole life because the internal factors affect the external factors. The external factors affect the internal factors. So it is important that we look at all factors, internally, externally, what could be wrong with them? Is everything fine at home? Are they having issues at home? Do they need some time off to address some personal matters? You have to show concern. And then the theory Z is using the US work arrangement and the Japanese work arrangement as comparison. And theory Z is saying long-term, yes, layoffs are inappropriate. Theory Z is also stating that evaluation is slow, thorough training is rather implemented. There should be a cross-functional culture in place. You have a Do you have a customer service expert in your organization that can also that also has some skills of a data analyst, cross-functional? Group decision is also as very important, like I mentioned earlier. Decisions shouldn't lie just with one person. It should get input from other people, even the employees outside the management. You can run surveys. So, I did mention that earlier. Surveys, if you want to run surveys anonymously, because sometimes people will not be so honest when they know their names are out there. Meanwhile, we have others who are very blunt. But I mean, just to get something very factual, just to run your analysis to extract your needs, identify their wants. And if you are trying to put, let's take for instance, you are currently running a full-time on-site work arrangement at your organization, and you are looking at ways to, improve the work experience of your employees, and you are already looking at addressing or implementing a hybrid work arrangement. You can run a survey. Would the employees rather want to work 3 days in a day, or maybe if your work days include weekends, would they rather want to work 4 times in a week? Would they rather want to work Monday to Friday and absolutely scrap out weekends? Such surveys just helps with decision making. And that way you have gotten input from different aspects, from different employees, their perspectives, different angles. Theory also addresses that responsibilities should, or rather each employee should have their specific job responsibility. If they don't even have if they don't have an outlined job responsibility, job description, how do you evaluate their performance at the end of the day? When you are making your, or rather when you are having your performance evaluation, it should be very explicit. That is where the likes of KPI comes in place. What are you evaluating at the end of the day? Have you clearly stated, communicated with employees? Or after this certain period of time, these are the certain goals we expect you to have achieved. Very explicit. But Theory Z now says it should be informal, which I would disagree with that. And that was why I mentioned earlier that each of these theories has their pros and their cons. And last for this, this is, as managers, we should be concerned with employees' whole life. We can't overemphasize that. It is in today's world and the kind of generation we have in our workplace today. It is very, very important. We don't want be playing with people's mental health. The Gen Zs now, any little discomfort, they are depressed. So our management style really needs to be more dynamic. Move to another theory, Hesberg's motivator hygiene theory. So this theory summary is just putting more emphasis on the intrinsic view or side of things, and the hygiene and the extrinsic side of things. So this theory is saying intrinsic leads to satisfaction, while intrinsic environment prevents dissatisfaction. No, yeah, there's a slight difference between the two. So, I mean, what leads to satisfaction? Different things can lead to satisfaction. Achievement. You know, it's a new year, and individuals, organization, we have clear goals, clear objectives. How far have we gone with achieving them? Recognition. The work itself, responsibility, advancement, growth. These are different elements that lead to satisfaction. The work itself, the employees, are they satisfied with what they are actually doing? Yes, they are getting it right. Yes, they are good at their job. Yes, they are skilled. But are they actually enjoying the work itself? Or is the workload complex, difficult, cumbersome? And what are the factors that prevent dissatisfaction? Your company policy, which is very, very sensitive and important, because I mean, for every organization, it's highly needed that there are certain laid down rules, policies that must be put in place. Supervision, what kind of lead, what kind of boss exists in the organization, in the department, in that team. Work condition. When your employees complain about their laptop being bad, is there a show of concern to swiftly look into it? Do you make provision for power supply ahead of work hours? If you run a remote work arrangement, do you provide some sort of work tools? It could be data allowance. It's something. It's a perk or it's a benefit that drives something. Interpersonal relationships, salary and benefit, job security. I mean, we've actually talked about this earlier. So just more emphasis on what you have, what is shown on the screen here. Good work condition keeps employees at a job. It does. As little as having aesthetics in the office. I remember one of my former place of work where upon resumption, or rather, well, then I think it was my first job after school anyways. And I remember speaking with a colleague of mine, and then she mentioned that, oh, when she came for her interview, and then she realized that the workplace was very chilled, that the AC is working. And that was when she gave herself a pat at the back that, oh, this is a place to work. So it's just I mean, it's just something to know that people, employees actually count on these little things. AC, yes, it's part of what makes the work environment a good and conducive one. You're at the organization too. How many skilled workers did you have? Because if you have just one skilled worker and there are about 6 that don't even know half the job, it could frustrate that particular skilled employee. So having a good level of skilled employees in an organization also motivates, knowing that, oh, you can go to meet someone else for guidance, for support, and not have to carry out the responsibilities all alone. Now, all the theories I've mentioned earlier, they are the early theory assumptions of employee motivation. However, now there have been new theories that has come up, contemporary theories. One, expectancy theory, where behavior follows expected outcomes. 2, equity theory, where fairness drives motivation. 3rd one is goal setting theory, specific goals. Establish and communicate specific goals that could enhance performance. 4, reinforcement theory, where behavior is shaped by consequences.
Sorry, excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Hello. I've been trying to follow all through this. I wanted you to probably uh, I would have loved if we had uh, a moment where we ask questions on each of these theories before moving to the other, but it's quite a long class. Be that as it may, I just want to probably, if you can, please go back to the contemporary theories that you were, or theory that we're dealing with. And then,
Okay,
okay,
all right.
thank you.
Yes, there will still be room for questions though, but yeah, if you have any question now, you can just ask. I'm just trying to maximize the time properly because it's actually a long it's a long session to cover.
Yeah, indeed. It's a long one. However, my, 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 if we're able to talk about one of the things, it will help us to remember. I think one of the facilitator taught us something which was a takeaway for me. He said, if you listen, you are likely to forget. But if you participate or if you say something or contribute, you are likely to remember. So I've learned to adopt that and it's really helping me. So I would love if you still go back to the theory, I wanted us to look at it because I was thinking if you could elaborate on that part a little bit on expectation theory, yeah, which is where you are leading, where you are going to now. That's the next slide after this. I think you want to elaborate on it, right?
Okay. Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
because I saw
Thank you.
expectancy theory.
Thank you very much.
Oh, you're welcome.
So
Thank
I'm
you.
just starting. I'm just starting with that. So yes, I would try to incorporate that and also make good use of the time as well. All right, so we are starting off with the expectancy theory. And this theory only says that the probability that a person acts depends on their belief that the act leads to a particular outcome and whether they value that outcome. So it starts from what is expected of me. And that is why it is also important to clearly communicate performance objectives, job description, what you're expected to do. The employee starts to question what is expected of me. There are no clear job description, job responsibilities. Even when job responsibilities are communicated clearly, and which should even start from the very onset of the employee's engagement with the organization. In the offer letter, you should clearly state job expectations, job responsibilities. What is expected of you to do? What is expected of you to achieve? Objectives, KPIs, OKRs, objectives and key results. What are the key performance indicators of this individual? Expectancy theory, that's what it is in summary. Then the employee starts to, and then I'm sure we can, if you can remember, during the course earlier, I did mention that employees would also ask, in 2 years' time, if I work in the organization, in fact, after a year, if I work in the organization, what is expected of me? Let's not even put a time frame to it. Let's take, for instance, you employ graduate trainees into the organization. I've seen cases, and it's quite impressive, where candidates begin to question you, even from the interview phase. Or I'm applying for probably a graduate trainee job position. What is expected of me? After the tenure or the period of a graduate trainee, what is expected of me? What do I gain? And then you clearly state it out. The effort that is expected of them. Okay, even while you are in the graduate training, in the first 3 months, in the first 6 months, in the next 9 months, we expect that, oh, your efforts would show this level of expertise. We expect that, oh, after your graduate training, you should be able to do this, you should be able to do that. How strongly do they believe that their effort will lead to a certain performance level? So, and then there's a response that goes beyond that says, oh, after your graduate training phase, if you meet up to this, that, oh, we may now employ you as a full-time staff. We may now transfer you to maybe the headquarters. We may now, you understand, the efforts put in place and the performance expected. So let's take an intern, for instance, an intern for 6 months, or you are working side by side or shadowing a particular skilled team member. In the next 6 months, we expect that we can now put you alone in front of a system, and you should be able to at least receive 100 calls a day. Or let's start from 50. Yes, let's stick with 200. you should have been able to, by the end of 6 months, by the end of 1 year, you should have been able to, your problem solving skills should have improved greatly. You should be able to receive 100 calls a day, solve their matters without escalation. They are putting the effort to have the right attitude to work. They are putting the effort to have a good research learning, willingness to learn attitude. Their performance begin to improve. Now, when their performance begin to improve, what is the outcome? Like the illustration I just gave, the outcome is, you should be able to independently deliver on certain tasks. Now, if at the end of the day, we realize that the employee is probably unable to, so we've put 100 calls daily as a benchmark, and we realize that the employee is probably unable to achieve that. But averagely, the employee sticks to a 50 to 60 or 50 to 60 calls a day. Now we now get to evaluate that does that outcome address our needs? That 50 to 70, is it a matter of completely solving the problems that arises? Or out of the 50 to 60, 90% or 80% of the calls are still escalated need, because we had a need to hire the intern is to probably reduce the workload on the existing skilled employees. Now, as we have trained the employees, we have mentored the employees, we have coached the employees for a certain period of time, is the outcome of that employee, that intern, addressing our need? Any question from now for the expectancy theory? Because that's what this expectancy theory is about. I know from the, if you look at the illustration I have given as well, the progression of the career of this intern would also give a level of satisfaction. I'm trying to align it to the theories that I've mentioned earlier. The employee, the intern, has a level of satisfaction because why? There is clearly a shown, you've clearly demonstrated a career progression. Also from intern, the intern now is a junior staff, probably a level 2 junior staff, where the intern no longer shadows a particular skilled staff. Afterwards, you probably confirm the intern is no longer probably a contract staff, is now a full-time staff. There's a progression to it. There is a satisfaction that would also come to it. You're also giving the intern a level of work to be responsible for. You have given the intern a sense of self-direction, because it's no longer shadowing. Now he holds the laptop to himself. He carries the responsibility to solve problems of incoming calls from clients, from customers. Any question from that? Any question around this expectancy theory? It's almost 12. I did say we'll go on break, a 30 minutes break by 12. Okay, I would assume there is no question. Now we move down to equity, which is very, very important and very sensitive in an organization. When employees perceive inequity, when they perceive that there is no fairness, there's no equality amongst their peers, especially on the same job level, it reduces their effort. And I'm sure that people on the call here, experienced professionals on this call would attest to that. They tend to reduce the level of productivity they put in. They tend to reduce the amount of value they put into their work. So in as much as you are creating, establishing, implementing strategies, incentives, activities to improve on, or rather motivate employees, you have to be equally careful that you are unconsciously and consciously not giving a certain set of people the advantage over and over again, especially when they are improving on the level of output that it be. So let's take, for instance, you have a set of four that has just been hired, same department, same level, and in the long run, their performances definitely cannot be the same thing. This cannot be on the same level. And when I'm paying more emphasis to that, or more attention to that, I'm talking about, I'm not addressing their completion rates. They are all doing well in the aspect of, they complete tasks to time and the likes, but probably their attitude. There are just some people that, they react better with people. They are more creative. They are more innovative. Their attention to detail differs. Those little soft skills. You have to be very, very careful, and you have to have reliable, documented evidence, so that by the time there is a need for justification, you have a proper data to justify whatever incentive may have been put in place. And as much as you may implement or establish the policy of confidentiality within the organization, you will definitely still find people who disclose such matters, especially in the sense of remuneration, incentives, pay raise, promotions, and the likes. So you have to be very careful with decision making when it comes to this aspect, when it comes to rewards, so that you don't get to reduce the effort of other people. Or you're probably looking at, there's probably a general salary review. There's probably a general salary review that the management is looking at, and there is a concern for probably employees that stay afar. There will be questions arising that, what of we that we stay some kilometers away? Don't we deserve this? Don't we deserve that? These are little perks that, that could just bring about some perception that could disrupt teamwork and collaboration within the organization. And so when employees perceive inequality, it reduces effort, it changes their references. They begin to see a new perspective. They begin to reason, what are they still even doing in this organization? Maybe they should start looking for jobs elsewhere. And the last one says they leave the job at the end of the day. Some don't even bother to even bring it up to you. So it's literally just 1 minute to 12. I would just want to end it here. So I would encourage us, any questions, any contributions, are you confused somewhere? Right now, I want us to please just share our thoughts and ask questions before we go on our 30 minutes break.
For me,
Hello, are we calling?
yeah, I can hear you. For me, I don't have
Yeah,
questions for now until the end of the class.
please be speaking.
Okay, it's Omar that is speaking.
Please introduce
I don't have
yourself.
questions for now until the end of the class.
Okay, all right. Any other person?
Okay, so I feel like there is no question at the moment, Tolu. Yes. So we may,
Before we
can you
go
hear
on
me?
our break. It's as no.
I think we should
I
go
can
for break now. Can you hear me now?
hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. So I said in the absence of questions for now, we should go for a short break, a 30-minute break, and we'll be back at exactly 12:30.
Yes.
All right, everyone, please do not go too far. Thank you. Enjoy your short break. See,
Abeg, they should go and sleep. It's nice, so 13 years. Now coming out to internet to like to go and beg 10 million for her. Because nothing can be.
So before we continue, I would just want someone to briefly tell me what they understand by the expectancy theory and the equity theory. Just two people at least, one person expectancy while the other person equity. Like one person can just take us through the two. Let's just refresh our minds. Richmond, Godwin. We have about 10 people on the call. Nobody's in anything. Hey. All right, let's not waste too much about time. Okay, before I go ahead. So please, I need somebody to say something. I do not want this to be only me speaking.
I'm
And
here.
nobody's, so I need to be. Okay, all right. I caught you right there. Mr. Godwin. Kindly, what do you understand by either of the two theories that we treated last before going on the short break? The expectancy theory and the equity theory or the equity theory?
Okay, talking about the equity theory, basically, one of the disadvantages of it is the fact that when certain individuals in the organizations are being treated more or preferable than others, it makes it very, or they have a kind of entitlement mentality. You know, it discourages the workers from participating or putting in their best. I can give a scenario because I've been, at least I've been privileged to work with a school for like 14 years before I left, you know. So where you see some other people have been preferred
Are you
because
not sure
they
it's just me?
belong or they are the mouthpiece of the management, or they are the people that the management can use to drive their.
I missed you, Mr.
Are you hearing me?
I missed you for a while, but you can continue.
Okay, uh, where did you lose
You were
me?
talking
Or
about a scenario. You were talking about giving a scenario.
okay,
And then
sure,
since
sure.
then
So
you
let me
went.
take that again. So I said I was in a place where I worked in a place for like 14 years where the management actually had certain people that they preferred, or they have entitlement or equity mentality, if I may use that word, in the sense that once those people break the laws or the policy of the organization, they are not being treated otherwise. Of course, when you have a handbook that explains that if so person does this, this is the outcome that is expected. So where such people are being given the opportunity to, they are not even being punished, as it were. They are not even given queries uh, to kind of detour their behavior. So it gives other people like me now, I'm no longer there. Quite a number of persons, after seeing such cases, such issues, they will eventually leave. So the equity theory handles that, part from my own understanding. And then the the Haber's theory that you're talking about explain basically, I don't know which aspect I will talk about, either the
Yeah, all
final part
together.
where you explain the three, the Japanese, the US traditional theories, and the last one, the other one was,
Okay, the theory X, Y, and Z.
sorry, say that again.
The theory X, Y, and Z.
Yeah. So theory X, Y is exact. No, that's not. Is that Haber's? No, that's before Haber's. Or is it combination of the of both Haber's and that may be right.
Traditional US work arrangements, Y, Japanese, and then Z combining both combining both X and Y, US and Japanese
Yes.
together.
Yes. So from the summary, I can take that some summary from there. The idea, and is very true. Is very true for the for the Z. The Z is a Japanese theory where people work for a whole lifetime. They work for a whole lifetime there. You know why? Because the system gets them involved in it. They are part of the 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 vision, the share goal. In one of the presentation, you talked about where the employees, if they are involved in the process, it's easier for them to be part of it. Unlike when they are not. If they are not involved, it's challenging for them. You just like passing the information from uh, from the top management to them. But if they're involved in the process through communication, it's easier for them to be part of it. Could you also mention that, for example, if somebody is in the organization and is there for just 1 month, 1 year, and there's nothing really happening, there's no any even shift from a minimum or a junior staff to a mid manager or a mid leader or whatever, they could just think of, I can't really be here, or I can't stay in this place because there's like, I'm not seeing. That is also I'm going far. That is you are trying to talk about. You talked about that during when you were presenting about the theory of, I think it's the Maslow's theory that explains self esteem, and then the last one is self-actualization. Where in an organization where people are not respected, and then it's all of these are real facts that if you have been in an organization, you have walked through several systems, you will understand that these are real true. But talking about the XYZ, the Chinese or the Japanese, which is the Asian countries, you see where the level of their production is very high. They work 24 hours non-stop because of the way the people carry the job. They are involved. Their compensation uh, plans are very, is something that
Line
somebody
is
can,
breaking so bad.
uh, uh, sorry, it should be the network here. But are you hearing me now? Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. So taking up from the Japanese um, side of uh, theory, the Z theory, I think is something that every organization should consider, even though human beings, like you said, during the course of the presentation, the dynamics and what satisfies one person may not be what satisfies the other person. Somebody may just be, okay, I like it when I just have my clothing that is the first essential need for clothing, housing, and all of that, So, but where the organization values the person in his whole, through the whole process, where they care for the person, where they love the person, where whatever happens with the person, the organization is involved. It makes the the individual or the employee, sorry, the employee. Which one am I saying? Is it employee or employer? Can you take that from me? At least I've said so
Well
many
said, well
things.
said.
So I've just
It encourages the employee. Yes, it does. It does. It does a
yeah.
lot.
So I've said
Sometimes I'm even always surprised that, oh, how can something so little encourage you so much, but it works greatly. Well said. Thank you, Mr.
thank you,
Godwin.
man. Thank you.
Thank
Okay.
you.
I think
All right.
we have
So, yes, you did not mention the expectancy theory, but we have what? Go
yeah.
ahead.
Okay. The expectancy theory is very critical. At least for me, is the beginning of every organization. What you should expect. Your motivation should be uh, what drives you as a staff or an employee is what is my what is my expectation, what is the outcome, which you also talked about. Uh, both sides are it's just both ways, both for the
Yeah.
employee, employer, and you further explain that the expectations are actually very that reminds me again, talking about that you see, when you have an employee where a system where the expectations are not clear, it causes a lot of chaos, very, very seriously. Where even just like you also gave I think whether the staff is asking, what is my role or what are my responsibility? Where you come to a place where you have to be asking, the employee is asking the employer, what is my responsibility? That means in the first place, the the uh, the employer has not defined the role or the expectations for the employee. So that becomes a very chaotic situation, and it's very challenging. So it is expected that aspect of expectancy is clear both sides, so that you can determine the performance of, in fact, the outcome the KPI, right? You may want to call it the KPI should be, this is what we're expecting from you based on the 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 responsibility that
Yeah.
we have given to you. For example, we have given you this
Okay.
task, your role. These are your roles and responsibilities. This is the outcome
Yeah.
we
All right.
expect from you.
Thank you very
For
much. That
example,
is
yes, can you take it off from there, please?
absolutely. In fact, I can call it a day. I can call it a day because you have really said a lot. Thank you very much for that. Go ahead to the third contemporary theory. We're still with motivating employees, and that is goal setting. Goal setting. It is no matter how experienced, no matter how exposed, no matter how skilled an employee or an individual can be, it is very, very important that you set a goal, you set objectives for, or rather expected of this employee to achieve. and it gives a sense of, oh, they have a goal to achieve. They have it gives some sort of benchmark, a guide. So, when you are just stuck where you are without no clear objective, even generally speaking in life, you have to have a clear plan for yourself. I'm speaking outside the workplace now. Generally in life, you have to have a clear plan for yourself. You have to give yourself setting goals. And it's also important and advisable that you do not give yourself you should try to give yourself, you should set a high standard objective for you to achieve. It gives a sense of, oh, you need to push yourself to achieve more. However, while you're setting the goal too, it has to be you have to set smart goals. It's also important, irrespective of, always wanting to aim high, wanting to achieve more. It is most important that you set smart goals. And when I say smart goals, I mean specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and timely goal. And it is one of the reasons why I appreciate the OKR system, because what makes the OKR performance evaluation more effective in an organization is time bound. It is time bound, and it is dependent on key results. OKR stands for objectives and key results. So it is dependent on key results. So we have an objective to expand our market reach by the end of Q2. That's an objective organization-wise, for instance. Now, how do you trickle down these objectives to each employee in different aspects? Let's take the sales, for instance, or marketers, for instance. So marketers, their key results would be, if they've been marketing the brand, they've been marketing the services, they've been marketing the product only in the location of the office. Lagos, for instance, engaged new areas, perhaps in Southwest Nigeria. You can say 3 more states in those key results, that there is evidence to show that they have actually achieved these things. It has also gained, or rather achieved, the objective for the organization in that aspect. So goal setting smart goals, it's very, very important that we're not just setting goals, but we are setting smart goals. We are looking at every other factor and ensuring that this goal that we are setting is actually achievable. And like I said, it's almost like I wouldn't want to, like the screen that shows difficult goals, I don't want to use the word difficult goals. It's going beyond your comfort zone. Yes, let me rephrase it that. Setting goals that are beyond your comfort zone, it helps you thrive harder. You strive to achieve that goal. It is also very important that there is feedback. And I know for a fact kind of lagging behind on that aspect of, so it's not like they're not communicating, it's not like they're not documenting the goals, it's not like they're not communicating the goals to employees, it's not like they're not evaluating performance of these employees, but they don't provide feedback to these employees. So you have set clear goals, you have evaluated them. Do you communicate? Do you even have a written score to help better with your analysis and evaluation? Do you communicate back to them, oh, this has been identified as your strength. These have been identified as your weaknesses. These has been identified as specific trainings that are highly important for you to, take up between certain period of time and should be completed. Feedback on progress. And that's why when you are working on a project, there is a project manager. Who is expect monthly periodic report on this risk management. There's always risk in everything that we do within an organization, outside an organization. So giving a feedback on the progress of an individual performance of the organization performance largely also helps with identifying possible risks. I know risk goes in both ways. It goes in 2 ways, I mean. It goes in the positive side of things and it goes in the negative side of things. Positive risk is seen as an opportunity, while the negative risk is seen as a threat. However, it is very important that these two risks are always identified. So yes, goal setting. For everyone that starts an organization, I want to believe that every single person that gets employed and not start an organization, pardon me, that gets employed into an organization has in their first mindset, the initial mindset is to add value. It's always nobody enters a new place with, oh, I don't want to, they are not adding anything. He said that the first month to the third month, they are always up and doing because of value. They have a goal that has been set, that has been communicated to them, that they want to achieve. Clear goals, smart goals, realistic. It must be time-bound as well. And the last theory is reinforcement theory. What kind of what system is put in place after you have evaluated one's behavior, performance? And most times people react, or rather their behavior to things, to things in general, it's dependent on the consequences that's probably, or penalties that has been put in place. Punctuality, in this case, punctuality, for example, attendance. You will realize that for organizations that probably do not have any form of penalty for arriving at work late, there is nothing that is driving them to come early. The question will now be, why are they getting to the office early? Either way, they'll get the work done.
Hello, Tolu.
And reinforcement, yes, please.
I don't know if it's your network or if it is from mine. You keep breaking off and on. I don't know if any other person is experiencing that.
Mercy, I think that's from your network. Oh. It's pretty clear from my side here.
Oh, okay. Please go ahead because someone commented that in the chat room. Please continue.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for that. Hopefully I get smoother with everybody. So yeah, I was talking about reinforcement. There's the positive reinforcement, there's the negative reinforcement, and there's punishment. However it goes, yes, we are talking about rewards. At the same time, drive employees to have an improved level of productivity. It also comes with this reinforcement theory. What comes after accomplishing this? What comes after committing this crime or offense? Positive reward for good behavior, for improved performance, or improving performance. Negative reinforcement, removing an unpleasant condition to increase behavior, fewer check-ins, micromanagement when employees consistently meet targets. It's clear as it is. And there's punishment. Disciplinary actions. Some organizations don't even have disciplinary actions in place. It's also a way, because that way the employee knows that, oh, there are certain clear rules and objective rules and regulations in this organization, and it's expected of him or her to abide by. And so the person knows what to do, the person knows the right thing to do, the right time to do the right thing at the right time. It's also driving performance or productivity. It's driving output. It's improving output somehow. So the four contemporary theories: expectancy, enforcement. And if you look at these four theories in another angle, it's almost like a cycle. Expectancy from the very onset. What is expected of me? The employee asks, as an employee, what is expected of me? The organization, what is expected of the organization? What is expected of the employee? What output do we get from the employee? What input do we get from the organization? Move down to equity. While both the employee, employer are giving in their best, ensuring everyone is happy, are we addressing all rewards, all punishment or penalties with equity, with fairness, irrespective of the job level, irrespective of the gender, irrespective of the status of the individual or employee. Goal setting. Remember, SMART goals. Also, going outside your comfort zone. This will only drive you. It will just make you want to perform better, higher. It will want to make you go harder on yourself. And lastly, the reinforcement theory. If the employees do this, what do they get in return? Right, we move. Any questions so far? I'll take the silent for no question. This slide here shows motivation is culture bound. Motivation is culture bound, and there are different countries here as a case study that is clearly stated here. We have the US, UK, Sweden, Germany, Japan, France. It says most motivation theories were developed by Americans for Americans. Research shows these theories do not apply universally to all cultures, which literally just has just clearly stated what I said from the very onset of the session. People are dynamic, and there is no one way. Taking it back to Frederick Taylor's scientific management theory, where he's saying there's one way to just get the job done. No. So and Nigeria is also West Africa is also a very different culture on its own. So you have to thoroughly, critically, strategically think about what can be done, what should be done, to ways, plans that can be implemented, ways to go about it, to find how you motivate the kind and the type of employees that you have. I know in America, they're straightforward. They've given you 2 months as a time frame to, accomplish certain or achieve a certain goal. Within that 2 months, if you do not get it done, they could literally, like the employer could literally lay you off. But that might not be what is absolutely applicable here in Nigeria. Yeah, in Nigeria, it has become that workplace, the CEO is wicked. It could be a total different game. And it could come from the kind of goal that has been set when you're not being kind of realistic. They say I've heard of it that they say it's difficult to sell to Nigerians, at the same time it's easy to sell to Nigerians. So if you're setting a goal or place of that does not put into consideration the demography or the location, different factors to make the goal realistic, then your strategies in this aspect is not culture bound. Or for instance, you've implemented or you want to do lunch in the organization. You want to start giving free lunch in the organization. And fully you are located in Ibadan and you have the likes of the plan for each day is probably just salad. I don't think that's that plan or that activity or that initiative will be well appreciated. But when you have like more of local delicacies in place, your employees would consume and feel satisfied, now you're achieving something. So you have to critically look at your culture. Look at the type of employees you have. What's the majority of the employees you have within your organization. Organization exists. What is that for every employee across all your organization location? To their culture. So you can make probably make it compulsory for employees to work full time or full work hours during public holidays here in Nigeria. It's a total different game here. Meanwhile, other countries, you still get to work your full work hours. So if you look at the screen here, it says clearly most motivation theories are developed by Americans for Americans. Research shows these theories do not apply universally to all cultures. So just pick from each theory and find which one aligns with your organizational culture, with your societal culture, and implement it. So we're moving to more applicable ways that can ways of motivating employees. The horizontal job knowledge skill, vertical knowledge skill. Yeah, this motivational job design, yes, shows horizontal. Horizontal, yes, is great when you are when you want to address career advancement. Let's take, for instance, you are just an information security officer. You know, you are very rooted in the clauses, you are very rooted in risk assessment, the controls, you know them by heart. I know you are just very grounded in information security. And then you want to go as far as expanding your skills, expanding your knowledge on let's take cybersecurity for it. Job enlargement. That way, the job design, you are going horizontally across other skill areas. Scope, it broadens your capacity. That way, even as coming from the angle of an employer, you tend to improve on task management. So rather than you looking at employing another person entirely as a cybersecurity consultant or analyst, you have this person who has been trained and has broadened his knowledge, covering both covering the cybersecurity aspect. And it's also giving a good level of satisfaction, confidence within that individual. The vertical job enrichment, a deep, thorough understanding of a particular skill set. In as much as you are, it's probably a culture to, run your employees running employees through your company wide that is not. It could also create some sort of confusion amongst the employees, where they now start to ask, what exactly are they even doing? So having a vertical, a thorough understanding, a thorough skill, thorough expertise on a particular job is as important as having a broad and widened knowledge across board. Cross-training, job rotation. Earlier on, I didn't mention that sometimes it's the person is not a matter of a bad employee. It might just be a case scenario of having a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't make the square peg bad, doesn't make the circle hole faulty. It's just it's just getting the right fit or position or role for the right person. And that's why job rotation exists, where you're shifting workers from one job to another. It only broadens skill set. Third, variety. It's like when you're eating white rice and stew, white rice and stew, white rice and stew every day. You know, sometimes you want to add beans, sometimes you want to add rice and spaghetti, I mean. You want to have another meal entirely. And these are the three aspects: job enlargement, job enrichment, job rotation. Job enlargement is literally, it's about training and equipping or empowering your employees horizontally, broad-wise, across various functions within an organization. Job enrichment, vertically, ensuring that employee becomes an expert in a particular field. And thirdly, job rotation, just shifting workers. Oh, today in a manufacturing organization, or let's say e-commerce, today you are dealing with supplies. Tomorrow you are dealing with logistics. Well, please take note at the same time. You have to also be very careful that if you want to be treating employees or workers in such a way, especially with job rotation, you are giving them the opportunity to at least master a particular field, master a particular skill good enough before rotating them to another one. If not, you are still going to create the same confusion somehow. I know when you broaden their knowledge in a way, you are also equipping them and preparing them for when they happen to now work with a different skill set, with different team members, they are still able to provide a good level of guidance and coaching and mentorship, because they would have gained some sort of knowledge here, there, and there. Another practicable way for motivating employees is working schedules. I did address that earlier today. And COVID came with its own advantage. After COVID, just realized that, oh, attendance, their work arrangement, and the likes. For organizations that you have proper intranet system in place to help track and monitor attendance and performance, you can establish a flexible time of, or employees can choose their resumption time at their own will, as long as they complete a maximum of 7 to 8 hours in a day, or 40 hours in a week, however it may depends. That's another flexible work arrangement that can be put in place, as long as there's proper plan implemented to help monitor adequately. So flex time, compressed work week, 4-day work week. I did mention that earlier today. So you can you can throw out an option of, or would you, if the decision doesn't want to be put out to the employees, you can discuss amongst your team members, maybe with the management, instead of just imposing. We can put it out there. 4 days a week, 3 days a week, excluding weekends, including weekends, or 4 days work days, 1 day weekend. Just be flexible around it. Telecommunicating, work from home via computer. Initiative that you are deploying, adopting, implementing within your organization. It's in alignment with the company's objective and their capacity. Job sharing is also another flexible work arrangement or option. Another applicable way is employee recognition and empowerment. This cannot be overemphasized. I promise you, it cannot be overemphasized. Positive feedback that tells employees what they did well and that their contribution is valued. We are doing a simple shout out, probably on a notice board in the office, or group chats, or the company's social media platforms, Instagram, LinkedIn. You cannot just go and say, oh, we are giving a special shout out to so and so. What are you giving the shout out for? What has the person done? Also, that is expected to keep meeting up with high standards. And come in various ways. Come in formal award ceremony, congratulatory emails, monetary reward or day off. I did mention that sometime earlier rather during this meeting. Verbal appreciation. Out of the blues, you can just walk up to this employee and give a hug. I promise you that you will be impressed on how satisfying that can be to that worker. A simple hug of, oh, well done. I saw your impact on this. I heard how you contributed to the completion of this project. Oh, I got a call or a feedback from so client. That's a good one. Thumbs up. Keep it up. You can do it as a group, a weekend giveaway, or as little as a shopping card, as in Spar ShopRite, as low as 10,000, 50,000, as low as that. It goes a long way. It's still part of the positive reinforcement. Empower. empowerment, delegates, trusting them to make the right call. I remember one of our knowledge sharing sessions in my organization where the topic was around micromanagement. So some people supported the motion while others were against it. And I would just say, honestly, it depends. Micromanagement is not absolutely wrong to me, and it's not absolutely right. It all just depends on you identifying the particular worker or individual you're working with. How do you get to bring out that productivity, that performance that you want from this individual? What are the steps you will take? Some people actually need to be micromanaged. And for those that probably do not necessarily need to be micromanaged, trust them with your task, with your responsibility. Delegate work to them. Delegate work to them. Set a time to different tasks that you have delegated and monitor. It is done. Another practical means or measures, economic incentives and variable pay. Bonuses, profit sharing. Your employee, you have surpassed your financial objective for the year. Your employees made a great, if not all, made a great part of that revenue, of that profit. Celebrate with them. Celebrate that profit with them. Give something. Doesn't, if you can't have it on each sale or each profit, you can make it the end of the year thing. It all depends on the organization's capacity. And the policy in place. What's your sharing formula? Have it in place. Are you going to make it performance-based? Are you just going to make it department-based? What's it like? Stock options, I did mention that too earlier. The organizations that are big organizations, large organizations, that could also be a way, because it's also just giving the employee a level of assurance that, oh, the organization has your future in plan. They have you in mind. Any questions so far? Let me pause there. Any questions, please? Yes or no? Any questions at all? So I'll encourage us to say something. Any question at all? If or not you have a question, let's just communicate.
For me, I want to say well done. I have a question in your previous slide regarding employee motivation.
Okay, please go ahead.
And where you were talking about this job rotation, and you talked about where employee has to go for training, and they has to be fit for that role, like they gain more experience.
I can't hear you anymore. Is it me?
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
I can hear you now, but I missed you for a while.
Okay. I thought I was talking about, I'm trying to ask my questions from job rotation, where you said employee has to go to training and they have to fit for that role before they move them to another role. And I think I've had a personal experience, not for myself, but for a colleague who was sent on that training. But at the point of finishing that training, he got another offer from another company and left. And left due to that experience he had from that training. But the boss had to say he needs to take it up legally because he was the one who spent money on him on that training. So in such situation, how can we be able to curb it where employers have to send employee for a training, and as soon as they get it, they can still retain and use such experience and knowledge in the company as well? So that's my question.
All right, okay. All right. So I will start from clearly documenting goals and communicating. So you cannot, it's the employee's right to leave at any point in time, irrespective of whatever training, motivation you have given to them. And I've seen organizations communicate to the employee that we are taking training. You have to work with us for a minimum number of so number of years. That way you have established a goal setting that you have invested in this employee, and you are sure that within this period of time, this employee would deliver the expected, would meet up to standard or would deliver as you are foreseeing. So if the employer in your case had in mind that, or his mindset or his goal is to employ this individual, train this individual, it is also very important that if you know that as an employer that you want an ROI on this training, please clearly document it. That for whatever training, you might want to tie the kind of training to probably the amount. You may want to tie it to the worth of the training, probably for trainings worth above so amount, for trainings that would give you a professional certification. You are expected to work with us for a minimum number of so years. So that way, the person already, the individual is clear that, oh, the organization has invested in me. They've trusted me, they've empowered me. This training now, I need to give back value for this training that I have gotten from this organization. I believe I've answered your question.
Yes, very well. Because some of us, we tend to feel that getting a training and be able to leave is also a crime for us. But you just
Is there
made
any
it that.
other unclear or sensitive?
No. You've cleared it. Cleared it.
I mean, banks do it a lot, especially in Nigeria, though. I want to trickle it down to Nigeria. Banks do it a lot. And that's why, in a way, you will notice that most of their employees, to a good extent, or rather their turnover rate is quite low. And it's also clearly stated that if you do not comply with this, it could result to legal action. So it doesn't come from a place of resentment or whatever. It's just clear rules, and yeah, that's it. Any other question, please?
Yes, I have another question regarding that same job rotation.
Please
All
go ahead.
right.
Can you hear me?
All right. Thank you very much, Madam Tolu Dokpe, for your presentation. Am I being heard? Am I
I
being
can't hear
heard?
anybody again.
Hello?
I can hear you, Mr. Godwin.
All right. Thank you very much for your presentation. I'd like to
But I think there was Mr. Omo who wanted to speak. I'm not sure who was speaking.
Godwin, yes.
Unless
Yes,
it's
I wanted to
gone.
speak.
Oh, just go ahead. I can hear you. Go ahead.
All right. Probably I would like to, if it's possible for you to retract back on culture, where you talk about culture, what is that, culture and what on culture?
I'm not sure I understand you, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
trying to culture
that's it,
bound.
motivation band, yeah. So
Okay.
I was thinking, considering all the we're talking about UK here and US, or US and UK, Sweden, all of those ones. I do not see Nigeria in any way. However, I was just saying that in my mind, motivation in Nigeria case is cultural and religious bound.
Hmm.
Cultural and religious bound in the sense that if you come from where I am, particularly the northern part of Nigeria, when it's Fridays, the religion take over. Whatever work period they are, they leave and abandon the work and go for that prayers. So their motivation is not even the 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 salary that you're paying them to say, oh, at least if I lose this time to pray, I won't get X, Y, Z. They abandon the job at whatever point and whatever level they are, even if it's a manufacturing company where they produce something, they will abandon it and will leave and go to pray. Also, in the northern part of Nigeria, how that is a part of religion. The cultural part of it is that in terms of life uh, expectation, yes, the expectation in the mind of a not normal northern part of Nigerian employee cannot be the same with the southeast or west.
Absolutely.
In terms of what in remunerations, if you want to say. If you bring the three of them together and ask them as an HR, okay, this guy is from the north, ask him how much would they pay him. He will say whatever you give him is okay. But if you ask somebody from the north, he would tell, sorry, from the southeast, he would tell you, give me 100,000. If you ask somebody from the southwest, he would tell you his own how much you want. So because of their orientations, they are entirely different. I mean, and the gap, I can tell you 1,000 times, and the gap is very wide. Sorry, I need to divert a little bit. That is why we have the crisis that we are having in this country today, Nigeria. When it comes to, what do you call it?
That is why we have what?
The crisis we're having in Northeast and Northwest in terms of,
Oh,
you understand that? Am I being heard?
Mr. Godwin, I can't
Yes.
hear you anymore.
But can you hear me now? Is my
I can
network?
hear you now. I can hear you.
So motivation here, we could add, if you put Nigerian there and then look at the cultural and religious bound, what motivates some other people is their religion. For example, I give instances again from where I work for I spent like 14 years. The number of people that are there, we had so many pastors, so many as staff. They are pastors. Some of them have churches. But when it comes to the other side, there were very few. In fact, let's say 92% were Christian in that organization, while 8% were like Muslims. So those Muslims now were saying, no, they now, the organization had to start thinking, oh, we need to get more Muslims to kind of bring the numbers to a
Balance.
bit. Am I being heard?
Yes, absolutely.
So culture and religion in our own country plays a lot of roles in what motivate other people in the organization. That would be my contribution. Thank you very much.
That's great. Thank you very much for that. And thank you very much for that. We want to also emphasize on for organizations that hold dressing very key. When you have Muslims, especially the well-dedicated, that can't go without, the female ones especially, that can't go without covering their hair, and your organization, you may find it unfit. That may be something you may want to bend for, allow them embrace their religion as long as they look presentable. So yes, thank you for that. That was just a little addition for that. So Mr. Omo, I guess you are available now to ask.
Yes, I'm available now. Can you hear me?
Please go ahead.
Okay. My second question was is still about the job rotation because you might have a whole number of person in a team who are, let me use inventory as an example. You have 4 persons in an inventory team. Experienced, they are experienced, but at the end of the day, when there is need for to rotate one from another role, from that, let's say inventory to be like a warehouse manager, among the 4 persons, you now have to see this religion issue will now have to come in. Like say maybe you are this, you are that. Maybe let me use an example. Your line manager who wants to effect that promotion or that job rotation, maybe is belongs to a particular denomination in the Christian faith, and same person who belongs to that particular denomination in the Christian faith is also among the members in the inventory and had to promote such persons. Okay, come and be the warehouse manager and oversee other 3 inventory staffs. My question now is, how do we be able to put in measures to say this promotion we're doing or this job rotation we're doing for this staff has to be effective and follow the due process to avoid this background example I just gave?
Okay, so advise that the religion background is a factor to consider. If, for instance, probably the location of the organized area like Lagos, for instance. So why am I saying that? Lagos, everybody, the free will in Lagos is high. That is one. Two, I wouldn't want you, don't encourage that thought that, oh, because he's a Muslim, let's focus more on another person. No, because he's a Christian, or let's kind of, he may not be able to, he can be able to. Don't even have that factor in mind. So now you have clearly stated it that these are experienced, is a set of experienced formal team. Now it now trickles down to the leadership skills because you're looking at a more managerial supervisory role. Which one of them it has been able to demonstrate that skill best? Now that is one. Which one of them over time has been consistent with their task deliverables? Is a very sensitive measure or initiative when it comes to promotion. So you don't have a case of inequality. Sometimes if you are in a tie, you can even throw it out as a vote to the top management. If you have been able to analyze, weigh your options, and you are probably stuck between 2 candidates, you can throw it out as a poll or voting to the top management. At that point, it becomes strictly management's discretion to appoint. So marital status, religious background, partially educational background shouldn't be a factor to consider for a promotion. Gender shouldn't be a factor to consider for whatever job aligned activity that may be. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, very well, very well. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, so this class is supposed to end by 2, and I would just want to ensure that I finish left here. So these are 4 key: and training, employee ownership, work-life benefits, nurturing knowledge workers. And from experience, especially with Gen Zs in Nigeria today, it is very, very important that we look critically into trend 1 and trend 3. Because truth be told, a lot of them are quite smart. Yes, we have the very the very funny ones with what they want. So sometimes to the employers, it's make hours. Also to further enhance employees' loyalty and improve their experience within the organization. So the 4 key trends in motivating employees today: education and training, employee ownership, work-life benefits, and nurturing knowledge workers. So yeah, education and training, improving skilled workers. What are the ratio of skilled workers in your organization to the non-skilled ones? What are you doing about the non-skilled ones? Are you putting them on training? The trained ones, are you enhancing their skills? You've trained them, they have the certificates, they have the knowledge. Is there a good nurturing culture? Is there a good mentorship culture? Is there a good coaching culture within the organization? If not, then there is a need. That means there is a gap there that is needed to be bridged. And so we should look at that, ensuring that your analysis are addressing the wants of employees, addressing the needs of the organization. So yes, about gives results for more skilled workforce. It's amongst the employees. It improves from the employees to the employers. And then there is also an open book management. All right, employee ownership plans. So here there is an illustration or case study of stock ownership plans that employees can align with, or employers can help employees. So we have the work-life balance. Earlier this session, I mentioned some things around health week, health talk sessions. You can, if you've noticed the trend of your employees probably not going on leave, due to workload. You may want to just establish a culture or a policy that states, oh, a certain period of time. It could be, you could pick, if you're an organization that probably doesn't close for the year, and you have been able to identify that your operations can actually align with that. You may want to establish such employees and say, oh, at the end of the year, compulsorily, everybody, organization will close for a period of 1 week, 2 weeks. It all depends on your business operations. And you can just serve that as a way of identifying that need of employees, where you have realized that most employees probably do not request or observe their leave days, and you just want that period to serve as a relaxing, as a time to relax, be off work, get engaged with more social activities of work and the likes. Work-life activities, week, you may want to do it monthly, you may want to do it weekly, you may want to do it quarterly. Just plan one activity that could just take them off stress. You may want to bring games into the office, play music. And you may want to improve leave days, increase leave days. If your leave days are probably just 7 work days, you may want to increase it to 10 work days. If there's no maternity leave existing in the organization, other ways that you think, if you look at probably the demography of more of younger generation, Gen Z, so to speak, and you notice that, oh, they are still in the phase of, some are probably still undergoing their BSc degree. Some are probably something like study leave. It also means that you are respecting their personal engagement or achievement beyond what the organization assigns to them. So you may want to establish something like study leave. Just think around it, something that addresses both work and their life. Organizations that are capable enough, you may want to create a small room as playground for mothers or married couples with married employees with children, so that during the holiday, if that is a trend whereby they come late, created a crèche within the office premises that anymore. There is a crèche existing within the organization or in the office premises, where you can drop your kids and while you are also not too far from them and still keep more like an eye. Just think around it, something to just help improve their work-life balance. Nurturing knowledge, like I said, work please also know that it's nurturing knowledge cuts across from gender, status. You have to nurture their knowledge. Even the drivers in your organization, you have to keep nurturing their knowledge, their skills. And here is just an analysis, a report that shows absenteeism and turnover rates. It says top reasons for turnover and absenteeism, career opportunities elsewhere. Employees leave for growth. Employees leave for growth they don't see in their current company. Bad manager is also another reason why people leave. And that's why it is as important as it is to, technically improve or improve their technical skills or knowledge, their soft skills is also as important as the technical skills. Is like beyond knowing the work. Is beyond knowing the work. What is your attitude? How do you kind of so it is a no. I do not want to work with this person. Yeah. These are the key takeaways. We call it a day and encourage talked about was the scientific addressed that there is get needs where the most basic is the and then it goes to safety, your job security, social needs, having a sense of belonging, improving the employee's self-esteem, self-actualization. Then we went on to Asberg's theory, where we talked about satisfying factors, what could lead to satisfaction and what should prevent dissatisfaction, or what could prevent dissatisfaction. Satisfiers motivate, hygiene factors only prevent satisfaction. And I did mention that there was a slight difference between these two categories. Job design and flexibility, where we talked about all addressing the broad and wide knowledge, enrichment addressing vertically, being deep-rooted, fully having a vast, enriched, deep skill set. And the rotation that has brought so much, quite a good volume of engagement, where you move an employee, where you shift an employee from one job responsibility to probably another job responsibility. Sometimes it's even a role to entirely a different role, as long as you are addressing and meeting to the expected or required needs. And we move to Hawthorne's effects, social needs, special attention matter, behavior, where workers' behavior, where we talked about behaviors are usually a function of the consequences that are being put in place. So yes, and we talked about the theory X, Y, and Z, management style, being autonomous in one X being pessimistic, Y being optimistic, and a Z being more like a combination of both theories, more on employee welfare, equity, goal reinforcement, and lastly, the trends that has been lastly talked about. And so we are bringing this to a close by, or rather, I am bringing this to a close by saying, do we have any further question?
Okay, madam, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Yes.
I'm not sure
if
it is my network, but I can't hear you
okay,
at all anymore.
well, in fact, it's been terrible throughout the session, but um, I just want to ask a question that will a bit border on, I think, equity at the workplace. There's a trend in the corporate world now where you see sometimes companies management consolidate two positions. Maybe they have a president and a CEO, and such individuals are paid so much. Okay, they are given a task and they are paid so much, and then they are also given a particular year, sometimes 10 years, 12 years, 13 years. I wanted to ask, what is usually the reasoning behind that particular decision or
Someone
strategy?
attest to this.
I'm saying, can you hear me?
It's just me. Mr. Solomon, I can't hear you at all.
No, it's not Solomon. It's Doche. It's Doche speaking. Please, can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you now. I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay, okay. So that's the issue. So I was saying that in the corporate world where they sometimes consolidate two positions for one person, okay? Maybe a president and a chief executive of one particular firm, and then that individual is paid so much. Okay, we can see that in the likes of Elon Musk and other chief executives of other global firms, where they have very juicy packages as far as their take homes and those things are concerned. What actually happens to employees, or what is actually the reasoning behind that? Okay, most of the time, what is usually the reasoning behind that? And then how does it affect employee morale within the work settings? Okay, thank you. I hope my question is clear.
Okay, so you were breaking at a point, but I think what the aspect of giving incentives is, it's maybe higher than the kind of incentives that is given to lower level staff, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Okay, all right, great. So in such a case, it is not absolutely, or rather, it is not a case of inequality. Now, where the case of inequality will probably come in is where employees in the same job level or same position are not equally treated. So let's take this scenario of health benefits, where especially when the organization may not be capable financially to cater for all employees. So we probably have and maybe the highest level of this HMO. Then go down a bit. Then the next level staff comes under the next coverage plan. And the next staff in regression under the next level of the coverage plan. So one, you are kind of establishing a plan that gives room for increasing incentives for employees in the lower ground, or rather in the lower level. One. So that means if you are improving, if you are promoting an employee from a particular level to another level, there is something the employee is looking forward to. I've mentioned earlier that the only way inequality is in place or is demonstrated or is shown is if employees, 2 to more employees in the same job level are not experiencing the same benefits, or they are not getting or gaining the same level of benefits. So let's take, for instance, a team lead in there are 2 team leads in customer service department, or there are 2 team leads in the project management department, and team project manager 1, at the end, both of them have completed task or completed their projects to time, and they've completed their projects to quality. But for some reason, project manager 1 got a bonus pay of 50% of that was put 50% of is the salary. Both of them are probably on the same salary range. Project manager 1 gets 50% bonus pay as an additional payment to as incentive upon completion of the task. While project manager 2, for some other reason I'm unclear of, or we're unclear of, got probably a 40% or 30%. Putting in mind, both of them same level, same role, same pay. There is none, in such a case, that is inequality. But you do not expect that if the COO of an organization is almost like remuneration. Let's put it that way. Remuneration of a COO can never be the same thing with the remuneration of even a team lead, not to talk of a junior level staff. Because why? They are not on the same job level. They do not even carry out the same job responsibilities. Now, if they happen to be on this, sometimes another thing is it also depends on what the company has put in place as policies. Because I'm aware that for some other organization, established, well-structured organization, their sales departments are prone to getting promoted faster than some other departments. Why? The why is the answer to it, because there has to be a clear definition. Because to some people, that might be a, why am I not getting in sales within a year, there is promotion. Meanwhile, in compliance, promotion happens only 2 years, happens only within 2 years. There has to be a clear definition why that is in place, irrespective, maybe if they are even on the same job level. It could be the objectives that has been set. It could be the requirements that is expected of them. I mean, something. But in your scenario now, in terms of gifts, incentives on a different job level, then that is not a case of inequality. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, I appreciate your expression on it. I ask because in recent time, shareholders of these big organizations and sometimes workers at large have actually voiced out their complaints. Okay, that it's like there's no that fairness when it comes to employees' compensations and all that. These are conversations that are going on, especially in firms that are doing that, and you see that business schools are also trying to analyze these issues. But just as you have said, probably it's a company policy or it's based on whatever they wanted to do. But then I appreciate your explanation on this. Thank you so much.
I think another thing that can be looked at is it a case of there are some, let's put profit sharing, for instance. Is it a case of some people get bonuses while others don't get at all? Because in that case, one way or the other, every single employee of an organization has contributed to that profit. So everybody must have a share of that profit sharing. That's just another case scenario or study. Now, where you have some people not benefiting from the profit sharing while others are benefiting, now that is a case of inequality. However, the ratio, the formula ratio or formula base sharing base, the formula sharing base may not particularly be a case of inequality, where maybe if you want to do top level 50%, the next level 35, the next level 25, which is fine. It all depends on management discretion and the company policy. But in such a case of profit sharing, everybody has to benefit from it because everybody at a point has contributed to that profit that has been gained within the period of time. Every consent person. Any other questions?
Can you hear me?
Okay, I can hear you.
Yeah. So my question is, how do we, like you talked about the profit sharing, and I work in an organization where some certain individuals benefit this profit sharing, despite it's everybody that contributed to this the growth and profit of the organization. Now, how do we, and sometimes there are also some persons who get this special benefit. That's the way I feel it though, in the organization. So how do we balance this thing all together so that everybody can be able to benefit?
Okay, so I've mentioned earlier that you have to clearly define how you want to share it, or for profit sharing as we're talking about. You have to clearly define how. Do you want to tie it to performance? Do you want to tie it to job roles? Do you want to tie it to job positions that, okay, every team lead, at least they must get so amount of, they must get this certain percentage of the profits? Do you want to tie it to that? It depends on the policy that has been established. Do you want to tie it to, in fact, if you may want to trickle it down to how their attitude to work, punctuality. It all just depends on the internal policy that has been established and put in place. It's for you to not identify how you want to tie it, but it's best, or rather, I would advise, I don't let me say it's best, I would advise that it's tied to performance with the management discretion input as a major factor, rather than tying it to job roles, job positions, because we have seen cases whereby some team leads work, or rather some associate level, junior associate level staff could work or could be a high performer than even a team lead. It does happen. So what will happen in such case? As long as you have clear justification as well for your formula sharing base. I hope that was clear enough.
Yes, very clear. Then my last question is, before the class ends, is this. You talked about trend 1, trend 2, trend 3, and trend 4, and you said we should focus more currently with the way the country is on trend 1 and trend 3. And I remember that trend 3 talks about the remote work, working at home. Yes. So with that, sometimes one might not be able to base performance um, on, let me say, for some staffs that works remotely, one might not be able to have this 100% judgmental approval in terms of performance to say, okay, this person is fit for promotion and this person is not fit for, due to all of us are working remotely. or our performance are at a certain range. So for me, as a line manager who has a whole lot of team members working remotely, what are the measures you feel, despite if all of them are performing, that you feel I can put in place, since I'm not meeting them one-on-one, I can put in place to make sure I motivate them as employees, so that the measure you feel I can put in place. Thank you.
Okay. I mentioned that what makes it easier and more dependable to monitor performance is having an intranet or software that helps track attendance, that helps track task completion rates. We have different tools like Trello, the Google Workspace alone, the Microsoft Office Workspace. Trello helps with task management, project management. We have Slack. There are various tools. Some are not even as expensive. Zoho is quite affordable. Zoho also has different modules, different apps embedded in the Zoho One or Zoho Workplace that helps address different aspects of monitoring performances, monitoring attendance. Attendance is very, very key, especially in a remote workspace or work arrangement. Attendance is very key because if not, you will just be paying an employee for zero work done. Zero work done. So attendance is very key, and is one of the ways that is one of the things or factors that you can look at to giving recognition on. So tools are one of the ways. If you're looking at maybe perks, benefits, incentives that you can, do from time to time periodically, just to engage team bonding. There are many virtual engagement platforms that you can do trivia questions that comes with rewards as little as data, airtime, that comes with small amount of credit alerts, money. These are just little practical. But for remote workspace, it's very important that you invest in software. If not, a lot of things will be done manually. And when I say manually, it means that there is an important need for you to actually establish check-ins, meetings. You may want to do it daily, you may want to do it weekly. Okay, this week, what have you said we want to do? You have that meeting Monday morning. This is what we are doing. Friday evening, the end of the week. So team, so person. This has been assigned to you at the beginning of the week. What is the progress with this? That is another way of doing it manually, and that has to be very, very consistent. With every minute or meeting documented, so that there is a track record of what you are monitoring. So I hope I've addressed that concern or question of yours.
Yes, very well. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Any other question, please?
Please, we won't be taking any more questions, please.
All right. Okay, then. Thank you very much. I think you can wrap this up. Thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure sharing this moment with you all. Mercy Adedamola, which one of you is available to close out?
All right. Thank you so much, Tolu. Thank you so much. I've really enjoyed your session. It's been really, it's full of experiences, and I must say a very big thank you to you. Please, a round of applause to her.
Thank you. Thank you so
The class was very engaging. Please, let's put a round of applause to her. Thank you so much. just a few announcements before we call it a day. And the training material will be sent to you immediately after the class, as well as the assignment. And like someone commented in the chat room, I'm so sorry about that you've not been responded to accordingly regarding your assignments. That will be done in the coming week. So apologies for that. And then another announcement is that for some of us who are on the call, I believe earlier when we started this course, you were told that it's a continuation of what we did some months ago, so which is the second semester. So as many of you who wishes to complete it, you can reach out to us so that we will send you the material for the first semester as well as the recording of the first semester so you can follow through. And then there is a registration fee of 10,000 naira only. You will not be charged for your certificate, so you only need to pay 10,000 naira only for your registration. Without this, at the end of the whole course, you may not be able to get your certificate. So please do well to make your registration fee and then send your proof of payment to the email provided on the group. All right, I believe this is cleared. And then if you are yet to fill up the attendance form, please check the chat room. The link to the attendance is right there. So you can fill it up. And then before we still call it a day, we are open to partnership. We are open to sponsors. You can sponsor 1 or 2 persons for this program. We have several other programs that are running. So please, if you really need to know more, you can reach out to us. The WhatsApp number is going to be sent to the chat room. Yes, I'm doing that right away, the WhatsApp number. So you can private chat us here. A moment, please. Okay, so the WhatsApp number to reach out to us is sent to the chat room. Please note that after this class, if you sent a message and you are not responded to immediately, just know that you will definitely be responded to in the coming week. So you just need to be patient with us. All right. Follow us on all of our social media handles on LinkedIn. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. You can refer these programs to any of your loved ones, and we will really appreciate you for that. If there is any other announcement in the coming week, it's going to be sent to your groups accordingly. Thank you so much for sticking by. We really, really appreciate it because this class will not hold without all of you. So a very big thank you to every one of you. Thank you so much. And from here, all right. And from here, I would say a very wonderful weekend to every one of you. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and we will see you in the next one. Bye.